that show that people have become to, I'm not sure whether it's mistrust or distrust, but you know, what is said by politicians, because as you say, politicians can and do promise the world, and then when they get into office or in power, they don't quite deliver the world. So it's not, and it's a universal thing, the kind of, you know, lack of faith and trust in politicians. You know, I mean, the last election in Nigeria, for all the noise that there was, it was one of the lowest turnouts ever, because people have given up. 29% bothered to vote. 29%. That is disgraceful. You know, because people have just lost trust
what
and
election
confidence.
was that?
Nigeria, the last presidential election.
29% of the population.
Of the voting population.
Of the voting population.
Bothered to vote. 29%.
Considering the population of Nigeria.
Never mind, just that is such a small percentage of the voting, you know, of those who are eligible to vote. That is shameful.
Well, Mr. Adid Ramel, let's take a look at Nigeria's situation. I mean, Nigeria being in Africa, it's among the biggest. I mean, when it comes to oil. And Nigeria have been going through a lot through interaction with some citizens of Nigeria. I've engaged a lot of them. They'll tell you our country right now, it's going through so many challenges. So that's why.
But which country in Africa will you speak to the citizens and they won't say that?
But they are better than each other. Some of them are better.
Yeah.
Let's talk about maybe Nigeria's situation can be more tedious than the ones in Senegal. Probably. It can be better.
Yeah, I mean, I think we've said this before, it is human to complain. So wherever you are, almost everywhere you go, people are complaining. Yes, in African countries. But Nigeria, of course, a lot of Nigerians have talked about how the oil wealth that the country got, particularly from the 60s to the mid-80s, they squandered that wealth. You don't see it reflected in the way that it should have been reflected. For various reasons. The country is very big. There was obviously greed, there was corruption, and they always contrast it with some of the Arab countries. All of them are smaller and have much smaller population than Nigeria, but you can visibly see what they have done and are doing with their oil wealth. And so they always make that comparison. You know, Nigerians will always make that comparison. People are making that comparison now with Angola. I mean, Angola, I have friends from Angola, and when they showed me videos of some parts of Angola and how impoverished they are, it's quite shocking. Because you go to the capital, Luanda, it's very glamorous, very expensive. I think possibly the most expensive city to live in Africa. You know, lots of people going there because the country has oil wealth, and yet again, it's not translating across. You know, so João Lorenzo, the current president, came promising lots of things. He's done some of it. He's gone after the corrupt former politicians and so on. They've seized assets of, you know, various corrupt people, but it's not translated to the ordinary
citizen. I think when it comes to oil wealth, I mean, in Africa, Libya was the only country that used its oil and it benefited its citizens during Gaddafi's time.
Libya, in Africa.
Libya.
Yes, you can say, you know, because you had free health, free education, free this, that, but yeah. So if you're just talking about the oil wealth and how it was deployed for the citizens, then I guess, yeah, you know, but of course there's more to life than
absolutely
than distributing oil wealth. Yeah.
Well, the idea that Dabo can promise the new constitution, it's not really up to him. It's not in his hands. It's not in his hands to promise that. And also the idea that, yes, I refuse to be cynical. Yes, generally politicians are really awful people, but I would like to think that you may have one or two who are well-meaning. Because once I go cynical about politicians and politics, then that's it.
Yeah.
That it is about collective decision making. That's how we.
No. I think
that sort of thing.
yes. I think both
Really.
Balde and I are just referring to surveys and polls about how
Yeah, perceptions.
perceptions
Yeah, this is about perception.
that people have become to trust politicians less and less.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
Yeah.
once you sort of become cynical, you've lost hope that
Yeah.
they're
Quite.
all the same.
Quite.
Nothing will change. Then I become apathetic.
Well, indeed,
Apathy
indeed.
will set in.
Elections time, I wouldn't even bother. Oh, they're all the same. So the damage of cynicism, really, in the collective life,
Yes.
as it were, that's what I'm worried about. But yes,
yeah.
we've had enough experience. We've seen enough to think that most of these people, they are awful. 90%, 95%. I just don't want to do that 100%.
Right. No, we have to have that hope that
There
are
has to
honest
be. There has to be
politicians.
that there are some who might make a difference.
Yeah.
I have to believe in that.
Yeah, quite.
You know.
Quite. And
Well, I mean, people believe in different things, but sometimes it's difficult to believe them because of certain situations that happened in the past.
But what we want honest people to go into politics, not people who want to be elected to get power for the sake of getting power. They want to make a change. They want to make a difference in the lives of people. They all say they want to do that, but once they get there, they become very self-serving, a lot of them, but not all of them. And so we can't tar them all with the same brush and fully accept that, actually, and I don't. But, you know, if we're talking about, you know, polls and surveys and so on, then that, they're not scoring very highly.
I think the first generation after
Yes.
independence,
Yeah.
they were driven
Yeah,
by
quite,
something
quite.
beyond themselves,
Indeed.
as it were.
Indeed.
Lee Kuan Yew once said that, he said, when they took over Singapore, politics wasn't a vocation, it was a crusade.
Yeah, quite.
You see, that
Right.
idea of politics being a crusade, given the situation we are in,
That's right.
I think that is what sort of we've lost.
Yeah.
We've lost it along the way.
Yeah.
So now they're just there to line their pockets,
That's
mainly.
exact, yeah.
And the incompetence and the sectionalism, you know, that sort of thing.
Sort
So
of
just
nepotism. and so on.
vitiated, just
You know,
vitiated the
because
whole
what
thing.
tended to happen is that it kind of almost just a few years after many of us gained independence, you saw people, we all believed when we were fighting for independence that once we get it, we will become a meritocracy. But that soon went away. You didn't get promoted into jobs on merit. It was because of family ties, tribal ties, and all that sort of thing. And that, it's now become the norm. I mean, I heard somebody say to me just a couple of weeks ago, just not long after I came back, he said, there's no deal or consultation that you can do for government that will be accepted by government here or anywhere else without kickbacks, without somebody wanting, no matter how good it is for the Gambia. They don't care. He said, unless you pay somebody, you bribe somebody. And he wasn't being nasty. He was mentioning it as a matter of fact.
It is,
that
something that is part of the system.
Yeah, and that was very disappointing to me. Very disappointing.
So let's move on. Assembly to question Dusano over alleged free loading of Jammeh tractor. I mean, it is alleged that Dusano took one of the tractors before, in fact, it was announced for
That they were going to be sold.
Yeah, so he took it, and you know, the tractor was with him. He didn't declare it, and he didn't even return it either. So now they are going to ask him, how did it go? Why did you take it? And you know, who gave you the right to take this tractor?
And this is stemming from, in case anybody's visiting the Gambia on holiday, the select committee, special select committee, which is looking into the sale and disposal of the assets, of the seized assets of the former president.
President Jammeh.
They've been hearing evidence, and that is one of the pieces of evidence that has come up. And now it is said that they're going to question Dusano.
Yeah,
to say
yeah. So let's talk about the act. I mean, okay, the act might, okay, I'm part of this system. Maybe we have the upper hand. I can come and take this without anybody's notice, do my thing, maybe bring it back. Or I can take it forever. Nobody's going to, it's just a tractor. Maybe we'll be busy talking about other things than just taking a tractor. We didn't see this coming, or he didn't see this coming either.
No, when you do these things, you never think there will be a reckoning. And we have to say that had there not been the explosive report in the Republic, we would not be even having this special select committee. That's a fact, because there've been all these rumors. But when they started listing, because obviously somebody had leaked to them some of the findings about what happened to those assets, there was no going back. It was, the cat was out of the bag, as it were, and they had to summon this, otherwise it would not have happened. It's one of these cases where the media exposure really is what has led to this special
And
select
Dusano
committee.
is the president political advisor.
Doesn't matter who you are.
He's one of the political advisors of the president.
Yeah, you will have to come and answer questions.
And for this, we shouldn't second guess
Yeah,
what the
go on.
report is going to say.
Yeah, go ahead.
So when they investigate, we know precisely what happened. But if you want us to explore the idea of abuse of power, that's really what we're talking about. Absolutely. But I've noticed something else, though. We've been having lots of reports, be it from select committees, national audit committees, and all sorts
Commissions
of
of
things.
inquiry.
All over the commissions of inquiry,
Correct.
all over the place. Yet, afterwards, what have they done
What
with
sanctions?
the recommendations? Nothing.
Yeah. No.
After all these investigations, I've
That's
noticed there's this pattern. I'm like, now that is interesting.
and that's why now that you've got something like Gala, they have sworn that they will not rest until they see some of these recommendations enforced. Because otherwise, what's the point? It's a waste of paper.
Exactly.
If you make serious recommendations because of serious misdemeanors that have occurred, action should be taken. It shouldn't just be, a slap on the wrist, or it just lies and gathers dust on a shelf, which is what has happened, we have to say, for the last 6-7 years. Yeah.
Alcalo, 8 others arrested for running cannabis plantation.
Sure.
And Alcalo, the head of a village. And 8 others.
Alcalos are people too.
There are people too.
People can get tempted.
It's really surprising to hear Alcalo, but the plantation bit for me, that is it for me. Running a cannabis plantation.
Well, you mentioned in another context about, and Mboj mentions about abuse of power. You do certain things because you're in certain positions, because you think you can get away with it. If you think you're not going to be investigated again, as you said, Mr. Balde, then you will do certain things because you think you're somehow above investigation, above the law, and beyond reproach. So nobody's going to, but yes, we wait and see whether that Alcalo is eventually prosecuted.
There was a scenario that happened, a scenario like that. An old woman was arrested. On the whole, she was the one they used as a transporter. With her bags. And
because nobody's going to be
nobody's
suspicious.
going to suspect an old woman,
Yeah.
with that kind of, stuff with her.
So you just say, please, old woman, take these funny leaves
take
to
these things and
to
and
Banjul
move,
for me or somewhere.
you
I don't know. Yeah.
So this is what happened. So project manager convicted of stealing $6 million.
Oh, project manager of what? And $6 million is from whom and where?
That's all it says.
That's all it says. Okay.
Well, I've seen another headline on one of the papers last week about the Ajib Bank incident, where a lady was, alleged for stealing $2 million. Plus,
Okay.
I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't see that. Okay.
So these are things that happen. So sometimes I ask, okay, how does this happen? Do they take the money at once, or they keep taking gradually?
Well, one of the ones that, I can't remember which of the banks along Kairaba Avenue, where the police did a kind of sting operation, they had identified that a particular cashier was involved in taking bits of money from accounts where people had millions and millions of dollars, assuming that the people would not be aware. So if you have $10 million in your account, he would take like 100,000 and so on. and he had teamed up with some Nigerians, and I remember very clearly about 3 years ago, and the police lay in wait, and because they had found out, they'd identified one particular cashier as being the one that they would go to and who would hand over this money to them, and they were all arrested. I don't know whatever became of that case, by the way. But yeah, so it depends. There are various ways in which
there are different means.
people always find a way to steal.
Yep.
We have found over the centuries.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What's important that perhaps you have structures in place
Yeah.
that could catch them early.
Yeah,
stuff
catch them
like
early or
that.
minimize. Yeah,
But
yeah,
you know, just
yeah. But yeah, around the world,
everywhere. Yeah.
people just in UK last week, people were. I couldn't even believe the amount. I had to check twice. I think 10 billion in cryptocurrency that had been stolen, you know, and they were convicted, you know. So yeah, people. Yeah.
Exactly. So IEC cracks down on groups posing as political parties. I mean, we've recently seen a lot of them.
I'm not sure they cracked
Yes,
down on you know, because we had it on the week in review. At the press conference where they announced the new dates, one of the things that was mentioned was that was a sentence or two saying that there are people claiming to have formed political parties, but they have not yet even been registered with us. So as far as we're concerned, they're not political parties. So I'm not sure it's a crackdown necessarily.
Yeah, I think
they mentioned it like
I
it's
think
a
the
kind
word
of hint to them.
crackdown. It's a bit
It's
harsh or something.
for what was done and said. You
haunting
know.
a particular-
Essentially, what they're saying is that if nobody's stopping you after or before the last election, we had 18 political parties. If you want to go and form a political party, pay the fee, register it, get your stamp saying that you're registered, and you're good to go. But you know, these days people think they can use social media and say, "I formed a political party." You know, that doesn't make it a political party. You have to be properly registered.
Are they for
But this is
president?
it. But again, I haven't seen anywhere anybody posing, any group posing as a political party. I have
It's
read.
a movement.
I've-
Some of them got movement. Some of them got certain things.
I've read a few stories. Somebody saying that I'm going to form a party.
Yeah,
I am going to do
I'm
this.
going to.
I'm going to do that.
Yeah, quite.
But the idea that
Somebody has
there's a group
claimed to have.
posing as a, I just don't understand it. Maybe that is what
well,
they mean.
I mean, some of these
We should be careful with
headlines
these
on
journalists.
some of the headlines on the papers, I think they are for readers' sake. I mean, for people to
I mean, using words like crack
down.
I mean, if people watch, they will see the clip. It says there are people claiming to have formed political parties, is what the guy says in the clip, you know, at the IEC. And yeah.
Should have mentioned a few.
Yeah.
You know, who are
Quite-
these people
yeah,
claiming
quite-
to
to
be
have
political
formed
parties?
political parties,
Absolutely,
yeah,
then,
quite.
and we'll know.
Yes, but
So
Zimbabwe
with
says-
that newspaper headline, poor editing.
Yeah.
Really, the editor shouldn't have allowed that. Where is the crackdown? What are you talking about?
It's
Poor
for
editing.
Crackdown.
It's for and
Yeah.
it's on the main headline. World Mental Health Day. Gambia urged to act on rising crisis of mental health. You know, it's really a worrying thing too. I think people need to consider. I've invited experts here who deal with these people day in, day out. And they talked about it. It's really rising in the Gambia when it comes to mental health.
Well, if you watch the BBC or you read the Guardian newspaper, it's rising everywhere. One of the articles I read sort of said they blamed things like social media and the way people are attacked, abused, insulted on social media. And for a lot of them, it's kind of, you know, starting to affect their you know, how, you know, what they think and behave. You know, it's definitely affecting their mental well-being. Now, in the Gambia, the reason they're raising concern is that we have so little resources to actually deal with, you know, mental health, really. And so that's why it's a concern. I can't remember which country is thinking of doing away with exams because they said that exams are affecting the mental health of young people who have to take exams, which I find extraordinary. I read it only last week So I'll try and find it, and if I do, I'll bring it tomorrow. But yeah, it did make me laugh because I can remember the agony that some of us went through when we were having to take exams. So I can understand why, but to say do away with exams, that's quite extreme.
Well, let's talk about...
And I think that the problem we have here, of course, very limited resources dedicated to that, not really prioritized because of certain norms, certain normative sort of beliefs.
And I've seen something. I've realized something. Once a person is affected by mentally, most people will be like, okay, young people most of the time they engage in touching drugs, I mean, which leads to this, and not necessarily. Sometimes these people are going through a lot, and all they need is someone who's going to counsel them. I mean, but we keep blaming drugs sometimes. And
when drugs are not involved, and as Mboj says, the lack of resources is the main concern here. And also how society treats people who are going through mental health crises. You know, people would laugh at people and make fun of them and so on, rather than say, well, this is somebody who needs help. So all those kind of, you know, attitudes in society also are things that we have to address.
Or blaming unseen agencies, you know, all of these things together. Then that's it. We don't really prioritize it, as it were. You know, it's not a concern. Now, how do we change that? Right now, perhaps we have NGOs. We interviewed some mental health workers here some time back, and I asked the lady, "What's your impact? You've been doing it for a long time. What impact have you had?" She said, "Very little." I said, "Yes, I'm not surprised, because you have to defeat the shackles of this norm, these normative shackles first. That's when you can really have an impact. That's where the battle is now. The awareness, the sense of awareness. That's where the battle is."
Exactly. So, Mr. Adedrame, thank you very much for reviewing.
By the way, did you guys deal with Gambia's 4-3 defeat?
Oh no, we didn't.
You
We'll leave
to Gabon.
We'll leave that for Gajaga. Gajaga will
4 goals by Aubameyang.
And a red card.
And a red card.
And at the beginning, Gambia was doing good, huh?
Yeah.
So unfortunately,
the end count. It is the end that matters.
It is the end. You know,
That matters really.
It's not how you start.
Sometimes you have to look at the beginning to know the end. At times, you know, sometimes it happens like that.
Well, there's a Brazilian footballer, Diner, who died sadly at the age of 23 in a car crash, and he was interviewed about a year before he died, and they were saying that, you know, he was called the god of dribbling, and he said, for me, the dribbling is sometimes more exciting than the goal.
The goal.
Really?
I can understand that actually.
Yeah. But that one, he's doing it for himself.
For the
but
team.
the fans and the country, the people, they loved the
They
goals.
loved him. No, they loved. That's why they called him the god of dribbling, because they loved all of that.
All right. Thank you very much, Mr. Ade.
A pleasure. Thank you.
It was good catching up again.
Yeah, it's good to be back. Another week.
Yes.
And we look ahead to the week.
We look ahead to a positive week, inshallah. Yeah, so viewers, we'll be right back after the break.
Opticalia, Gambia's leader in optical care with 5 locations offering the best in visual health. With cutting-edge European technology, Opticalia delivers single vision lenses in just 20 minutes. At Opticalia, we care about our future. Eye exams are free for individuals under 18, ensuring everyone has access to quality eye care. But it's not just about vision. Opticalia also provides advanced audiology services to ensure your hearing health is in the best hands. Our audiology services offer European standard hearing aids and diagnostics, ensuring everyone can hear clearly. Whether it's testing or treatment, you can trust Opticalia for your auditory care. Opticalia offers European standard products, fair prices, and exceptional value all under one roof. Visit Opticalia at the Tropic Shopping Center near Senegambia, or call us on 7767-121 or at any of our regional branches. Banjul 7767-126, Brikama 7767 Farafenni 7767 124, Basse 7767 125. Opticalia, love what you see and hear.
Naine dake network koto mi yalonko wole warta nyimbanko kan adung adabe soniaring wala nyama. Imuna fang telefono la mi yalonko abe seniaring adung internet wobe tariaring. Nyindung kiusel dorne sinyin nati aleno. Ibori yela kiusel line ota. Customer care mi suti atima. Bi. Kiusel network ko mi warta network ko beti adung adabe soniaring. Kiusel sunu boss. Ndolla silo walang dulia bulan noma.
We are back. You are watching QTV this morning. I am Ibrahim Obalde. Now let's move on to the other segment of this program, and we have the Executive Director of Africa Center for Democracy and Human Rights Studies, Mrs. Hannah Foster. It's not her first time of coming on this program. So we've been here on several occasions. It's good to have you. Good morning.
Good morning, and it's good to be here.
How are you?
I am doing very well.
I was talking to Pa the other time, and he said you were not in town. A lot of activities.
Too many.
I know.
Yes, but we thank God. Yes, so we are kept busy.
Yeah. It's good to have you once again, and we will be talking about the training that you're about to start, tradition and religious leaders on human rights. So it's very important to engage these people. I mean, most of the time, there are things that we talk about, and we keep mentioning Gambia. It's more of a religious country, and people seems to be attached to their traditions more. So bringing all these people and training them on human rights, it's a very significant step. So we said, okay, this is important. Why not we discuss this? So please tell us the idea behind.
Okay. Thank you very much, Mr. Balde, for the opportunity. Yes, it starts tomorrow from the 14th to the 16th. And it's to train religious and traditional leaders on the regional human rights system, as well as the mechanisms that operationalize it. They will also be introduced to the international human rights system. And how it came about, you know, since the inception of the center, we've been carrying, capacity building is one of our strengths that we've built along the way. And in going through our database, we found that we didn't have many people who call themselves religious or traditional leaders. So we carried out a little research, and we found out that we had only 1 or 2 of them in the database. So that's when we started preparing a concept note and then sending out the notice. Last year, October, we carried out the first ever training of religious and traditional leaders on human rights. It was exciting times because we worked together with the African Commission to train them, but we had a consultation first, and the findings of that consultation was very interesting. All of them who were there, they've never engaged in human rights. And what was also interesting to note was that they even did not know about the African Charter. They did not know about the African Commission. And even when you talk about human rights, their definition of human rights was a bit slanted.
Exactly.
So we were able to train, I think, about 21 participants from, I think, about 18 or 19 African countries. So we felt that it would be important to have a follow-up. And the follow-up will be this year, starting tomorrow for 3 days. The first day will be consultation again, because this is a new group. And then you have the 2 days training on the system and mechanisms. And after the training, they will stay on for the 3 days of the forum, which is from the 17th to the 19th of October. And what would they be gaining from the forum? The forum is a platform of organizations all over Africa and organizations outside of Africa working on the African human rights system. There are times we have over 200 people registering, but I think this time around we have over 300 participants from all over the world applying to come. So for them who are just trained in the system, it will be a space where they will meet people who've been coming to the forum, and they will also meet their counterparts from last year, you know, and because that particular group, they've now formed a network, and they've been able to get their committee, and they've even gone ahead and prepared a proposal for us to support them in making it functional. And my staff and I, we told them we are not part of it. What our role is to support them, and they have to try to make it work. So you would see that there's a lot of enthusiasm for them. And when we talk about religious, we are talking about Muslim, we are talking about Christian, we're talking about Ahmadiyas, we are talking about, you know, all of them.
Included, yeah?
Yes. And traditional leaders, we had queen mothers, we had all the range. Yes, so by the end of this particular training, we would have had almost 50 from all over Africa trained. So we are hoping after this training, they will become more engaged in human rights affairs. Because human rights is everybody's business. And being a religious leader does not mean that you don't know what is right, because human rights is not about telling stories. It's about the fact of life. This is right and wrong.
So I wonder what methods are going to be used to deliver this training.
Okay, the pedagogy is such that most of them are adults. Some of them have been to school. Others have been to Arabic school. But what is important is that we have teaching methods for adults that are being used. Yes, more participation, giving them more working group questions for them to sit together and dialogue and discuss. So it's different from going to junior classrooms. Yes, there will be more of their participation to be able to understand the nitty-gritty of human rights. They will be asked to give examples so that we know whether they understand what they are talking about. So the teaching methods are different. There will be more of group work. There will be more of participation from the participants themselves.
Listen, I wonder, are there sort of misconceptions that human rights somehow conflict with religion or culture? Do you get that sense?
In fact, that is the impression being given. But human rights reinforces religion. And human rights also reinforces tradition. Because before we started talking about human rights, the African tradition was such that it was between right and wrong. And right was always promoted over wrongs. So when we talk about human rights and human wrongs, whether it's tradition, whether it's culture, whether it's religion,
Absolutely.
Well,
but don't you see a kind of tension between this sort of individualistic, rights-based worldview and the paternalistic? We are paternalistic, aren't we? Your parents know better, or the elders know better, so you individual, you follow. There are defined rules. You don't see a tension between...
No, I don't.
Okay.
Forgive me for differing. When we talk about human rights, especially using the African human rights system, which is based on the African Charter on Human and People's Rights. You see that it's both individual and it's also collective. It recognizes group rights. And it's one of the foremost human rights documents that also recognizes much more than the individual. And that is one of the main pluses of the Charter. And because it does that, it has also the right to self-determination, right to development, right to peace. All of those are collective rights, you know, which are not in the other regional charters. So for us in Africa, we have taken into consideration those rights that enrich our lives, which is unique to us as Africans. So I don't see any derogation when you talk about rights of children or rights of women, because when you look at the African Charter, it engages in all those rights that affect our daily lives. And then giving more meaning to some of these articles. For example, Article 18, which is the right of the family to, okay? But then we felt that when you talk about the right to the family and you don't give prominence to the lives of women, then you have a problem. So that was how come we were able to now come up with the Maputo Protocol. Yes? And then you also know about the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. Yes? It's true that at the international level, you have the Rights of Convention on the Rights of the Child. One would have said, oh, it's okay. No. But the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child gave African children their uniqueness and provides for their rights. So, yes, as children, you have rights. Yes? But at the same time, I believe it is important that there is always respect all around. We've seen some people who are, shall I say, elders, but they don't advise anybody anything good. But we've seen children, we call them youth, who are more conscientious, who know what they want for themselves and for society. So what the center is more interested in is ensuring that participants are able to think critically and also make a very important contribution to their lives and the lives of their fellow men. So for me, I don't see any divergence.
All right. But if human rights really has got its embedding in our culture, I wonder why we're not doing well with women's rights, are we? Some might say even with children, you know, we're not doing well. I wonder why is that?
I would not like to preempt, but let me tell you a story. I was invited to open something in Soma. And then the gentleman who was introducing me said, yes, I'm introducing Hannah Foster from the African Center. These are the people who tell children that they have rights, they should not obey their parents, and the women also have rights, they should not respect their husband. I looked at him and I said, now, if I just hold the scruff of his neck, it will be violence.
Yes.
Yes? I said, okay. So he gave me the mic and I'm like, thank you. And then I took a deep breath and then I said, okay, I will speak a little bit extempo before I go to my statement. And I took it to quickly define in simple terms what human rights are, you know. And then when I finished with a question. Is that not reinforcing respect for self and respect for others? And they said, yes. I said, okay. Now I will share my message. So I gave my message. And then when I finished, they clap for her, clap for her. Can I have your paper? I said, not now.
You handle it well.
Yeah, if I was not as experienced as I am, I could have slapped him. Yes, because it showed his ignorance.
You know, how, the notion that we have, I mean, human rights advocates, they are trying to bring chaos between families and societies. This is the notion that we have. Human rights starts with even our religion. Religion gives everybody your right as a human being. You understand? So I think sometimes this misunderstanding is a problem. So let's talk about the centers. What human right, issue is the center trying to address at the moment?
Okay, the center is a generalist institution. So we work on the whole charter, the provisions in the charter. And evolving issues guide us in making some of these choices. For example, the grants that we were implementing concentrated on environmental rights, the environment, climate change, human rights, natural resource governance. Because we've seen that extractive industries in most of our countries is going to naught. Yes, other states come in, take our natural resources, go with them, and yet we are supposed to be poor when we are not. So how do we deal with that? So right now, after we use it to advocate. Once we train them on advocacy and where to go, what to do, you find out that then they go back and start their advocacy, and we will be supporting them. You know, sometimes they would call if they need assistance, we would help them. But then if, for example, when you go to Ghana, there is aims, and these, they have to do with mining. You know, they have their goal. They have, so for them to really understand where the challenges are, and if they are having problems in their countries in relation to those issues, they should know who their country rapporteur is at the African Commission. They should also know who to contact on the issue of mining. So immediately you have two points of contact. And then the third point of contact is the chairperson of the commission. So immediately you have three different mandate holders who can work on the issue. But you need to know who is who and how to contact them. And then we also know that governments, they don't like people showing them, say, okay, this is what they are doing. This is what has happened. It was Mr. Balde who was given the damper, you know. And then you are like, okay, is it true? But Mr. Balde, you don't even know what you are talking. So that's why we always tell them, whatever statement you make sure that you can substantiate it. Because the minute you say something and it's not correct, then there is no way anybody will believe you again.
True.
So you have to make sure that you fact find, you have evidence, you document, so that when you go and take it to the commission, they can take up the issue, and they will also have the supporting documents. So it's very important. So for these people who are coming in for this training, they're coming in from over 10 African countries, plus the other 19. We are talking about 30 African countries represented.
That's a huge number.
Yes. So in some of the countries, you have somebody from Christianity, somebody from Islam. In others, you have somebody from the lineage of the king or whatever, somebody, you know, from Kenya, from Zimbabwe. Different men, women. We also try to observe the geographic and gender balances as well. But what is also one of the things that we are looking forward to is trying to bring cohesion between these different groups. Because we know in some countries the Muslims don't talk to the Christians. In others, the Christians also, because in some countries you have more Christians, in other countries you have more Muslims. So it is a source of tension.
That is true.
Yes, so we are also using it. And once they have their own structure, then you find that if we are doing anything in relation to them, they lead. Yes, we are only there to support them. And for them to also, since now they have an interest, we are bringing them to the commission. But the next session we will want to take them to the Human Rights Council. If any of their countries is presenting their state reports. So they will have to now go and to see how it works. So we believe that if they know, then they would be in a position to do better and to be able to tell truth to power. That yes, this is happening, and this is, and you speak, it is not Hannah telling you what to say, but it is you and your conscience saying what you should be saying. Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes. So for us, no, we don't tell them what to say. We show them all the material, we introduce them, we tell them, put them in groups and say, okay, if you have this problem, how are you going to solve it? So it's more of problem solving because they are adults. You cannot start teaching them, reading for them. No. This is information for action. Yes, thank you.
But I wonder though, what are some of the most common human rights concerns in communities? Can we deal with Gambia, for instance?
It's the power struggle between the sexes.
Okay.
Yes. And a few years ago, we carried out a study to look into the gender perspectives of women, how they are being taken into consideration in political parties, for example. I can share the report. It's very interesting because the findings were we have a lot of positive laws that promote gender equality. Yes. But what challenge, or what the main challenge we have, is that the women themselves are limiting, they are self-limiting because of the patriarchal nature of society. You will find somebody looked at me and said, "Danga am jëkkër?" Ma ne waa. Yërëm naa sa jëkkër. Ma ne ko nga yërëm ko pulaan. Mu ne ma danga mun a wax de. Ma ne ko kaar waay.
And that keeps happening. I mean, many.
Yes, but at that time I was happily married before my husband died. It was never an issue who is in charge or who is not in charge.
No, it's telling you the
mentality
of the society.
That's it. That's it. Dafa yërëm suma jëkkër. Ma ne ko moo la ko wax. Nga ànd la suñ àndee suñ kër nga dem seet. Waaw. One day, those are some of the things that we need to. And then the other thing we discovered, even in the political parties, when you look at their manifestos and constitutions, it's brilliant.
Yes.
They are providing for gender equality, the space is there, but the women do not occupy it, do not occupy those spaces. And what happens is, if you do not have a godfather, you are a nobody.
True, that's true.
Yes, and the godfathers are there, and Father, forgive me, some of these godfathers, they satisfy themselves before they can even do anything for you.
True.
Yes, and these we found out to be problematic. And then the other finding that I also wanted to share is the fact that apart from that, there is a lot of goodwill, but there is no implementation. Because if you look at the Women's Act, it's one of the most brilliant acts that promote and protect the lives.
But there is no implementation.
That's it.
Thank you. We've exhausted this time for this segment. This was a very interesting, conversation. I think the center here is doing a good job, and let's keep pushing. Let's keep, sensitizing people on human rights. It's very important. I think the society needs to learn a lot. Mindsets needs to change. sometimes it's not okay. Human rights is here to snatch the right that you have maybe in your family or between you and your wife or your kids sometimes. But the right, I mean, for them to live with you and live comfortably, it's also very significant. So thank you very much, Ms. Hannah Foster, for coming.
Thank you.
And we hope to have more of these engagements.
We'll look forward to
Yeah,
that,
yeah,
yes.
yes, yes.
In fact, we are also thinking that at some point we should have a Human Rights Week in which it will be an open days. People will come, people who have questions will come to ask, and there'll be some activity, like a jamboree, Human Rights
Brilliant
Jamboree.
idea.
Yes,
That's a good one. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, so viewers will be right back after the break. The IEC have set a new date for Gambia's election 2026. So Pamakan Khan will be here and we'll delve into that. We'll be right back.
QCell, the fastest growing network in the Gambia, now presents to you the eSIM. QCell's eSIM allows you to electronically scan a code and join the world of digital SIM cards. Customers with physical SIMs can easily switch to the eSIM as well. So rush now and get connected with an eSIM and start using the latest mobile technology with your trusted GSM operator. For more information, call our customer care on 111. QCell, Sinubus. We innovate, others follow. Terms and conditions apply.
Vocal si network bu gëna rëy gëna yombale si réewi Gambia bi fii jëfandikool call bu set internet bu gaaw li yëpp si njëg bu yomba fii si QCell dawal léegi si suñ customer care bu la gëna jege ñu may la QCell line te doo si fay dara QCell network bu gëna rëy te it gëna yombale si réew mi fii QCell suñu bas ñoo xaali yoon bi ñeneen toppa.
These tracks have become my wall, my arena of victory and fear. I relentlessly walk, push, strain, and stretched. Moments when every fiber of my being screams, give up. But the fire within me won't let me quit. Despite the burning muscles, in this sport, every moment matters. Every second counts. My failures, my dreams, my pain, my triumphs.
We are back again, for the final segment of this program. The Independent Electoral Commission have set the new date for 2026 election, 2026-2027. And we have Pamakan Khan here. He is the Communication Director, IEC. Pamakan, nice suit, nice shoes.
Oh,
how are you?
Thank you, Ibrahim. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
It's good to have you.
Yes, it's been a while.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
We miss QTV. Here is our home.
Wow. So how are you?
Fine, thank you, Ibrahim.
Good. So, there was a press release last week. The IEC set a date for these elections. Why December? Is it December 5th?
The 5th, yes.
Why December 5th?
Yes, last week, thank you, last week 9th of October, the election calendar was launched by the Commission. Actually, the chairman of the IEC, Mr. Joseph Colley, made the pronouncements, and this was the publication of the elections calendar. And by law, the Commission is supposed to publish an election calendar at least 1 year before the election date. So this was, I think we are even ahead, 1 year, 2 months. So in so doing, the Commission fixed the dates as follows. The presidential election is fixed for the 5th of December. Reason being, the last presidential election was, I think, on December 4th. So I think the term of the president elapses. So I think by December 4th, then the new mandate would come in. And the same applies for all other elections. The National Assembly elections, which would be in April 2027, and also the local government elections for the councillors, May 2027, April 2027, and then the chairpersons and mayors in June 2027. I think this was just in observance of the law that the IEC is supposed to publish an election calendar at least 1 year before elections. And also based on the mandates, the term of the various offices, so the calendar was done to reflect this.
So who were engaged before the set of this date? What is the process before IEC release a particular date?
Yes, normally by law, the IEC has the mandate to fix election dates. Even though the Commission thought it necessary to engage the stakeholders, which is very important. But the Commission engaged various stakeholders in order to come up with these dates. And again, in so saying, that some of these dates are even as per law, as just mentioned, that presidential elections are conducted every 5 years. National Assembly are conducted every 5 years. And local government elections are conducted, okay, before they were conducted every five years, but now I think based on the court ruling, they'll be conducted every 4 years. So based on this, stakeholders were engaged, making sure that, because even during the launching of this calendar, this was more of a validation of this calendar, making sure that the stakeholders, including the political parties, including the media, including civil society organizations, including youth-based organizations, including women-based organizations, and even some government ministries. So I think it was an all-inclusive engagement, making sure that every stakeholder in the process would have a say in the process. Even though we know that some of these dates, definitely, there is no room for maneuver. But then just to engage them in the process and then making them understand that, yes, this is the law, dates so and so are fixed because of A, B, and C, because of the law, because of logistics. And of course, it was good that the stakeholders themselves, they validated this calendar, meaning that I think the Commission did the appropriate work, and then people understood and accepted the calendar as it stands.
And I understand that there's going to be a voter registration supplementary.
Absolutely.
When is that?
Absolutely. I think this is one of the major activities next year. There would be supplementary registration of voters. This will be done in April, May, 1st April to 14th May. And just to indicate that this is a supplementary registration, it is an addition. It is intended to capture the new voters, primarily voters who have turned 18 or who turn 18 by December 5th. And as we know, we already had a register in place in 2021. This was a general registration of voters. And then 6 years down the line, many people would have come of age. So it is only incumbent on the Commission to respect the rights of those people by, upholding their franchise. Because once they turn 18, they have a right to be registered as a voter. They have a right to participate in politics. That's the political rights that they have provided by the Constitution. So I think this was the basis of this, that by next year, April, May, there will be supplementary registration of voters across the country, and it is intended to capture the new voters and, again, people who couldn't register for one reason or another in 2021.
That's it. So now, what challenges lie ahead in implementing this timetable?
Challenges, I would say, most of these things are law-based. They are prescribed by law. And again, I think challenges, if there are any challenges, I think we have to surmount the challenges. if it means to move the mountain will be moved to get this done. So I think challenges generally, I would say the issue of resources, I would say, would be a challenge as every organization. I think the resource constraints is prevalent. The IEC is no exception. And again, making sure that people understand the process, people understand how to get registered, and again, they understand the process, how it works. And again, when it comes to elections, they understand, the voting procedures and all that. And again, even the stakeholders, they understand how all other things work in elections, just to make sure that everybody is on the same page, and then the elections is conducted peacefully.
So, I mean, we've seen 2026, 2027, so probably the 7 might be parliamentary election, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so let's talk about this. What is there not a possibility where all this can be done in one day?
Absolutely. As per law, I would say no, we cannot do this.
Why?
Because presidential elections, is every 5 years. So, 2021 to 2026, I think that's the 5-year period. So you cannot draw National Assembly, to the presidency. It means you will be shortening the term of the National Assembly members. Because in 2021, presidential election was conducted in December 2021. So we're having another December 2026. Then 3 months down the line, in I think March, April 2022, we had the National Assembly elections. So going back this, with the 5-year mandate, this would elapse in 2027. So there is no way that you can shorten the term.
Yeah, that's a problem from the initial
from the law.
Yes.
Exactly. Then the same applies to the local government elections, which are also going to be conducted in 2027. Just to say that, but this election cycle would be a shorter cycle actually. Instead of the normal 3 years, this will be a 2-year electoral cycle, to 2026 and 2027. Because the local government elections previously were conducted after 5 years, based on the Elections Act. But then, based on a court ruling that in the Constitution, the term of the local government, elected local government election is 4 years. So based on that act, based on that ruling, is that then the term will be shifted. Instead of 5 years, now it will be in 4 years. So I think this would definitely cause some challenges for us, because it means we'll be having multiple elections in a very short period.
Yeah.
So we'll be having the councillorship elections in is it May? No, in April. No, May to 2027. And just a month or so after, in June 26 June, we'll be having the election for the chairpersons and for the mayors. So I think it is problematic, but so be it. It's about law. We are with to match this together.
That's it.
But based on law, I think it will be very difficult.
That's it. Well, we made the law, we can unmake it.
Yeah,
Just depends.
very well.
But this is the case, isn't it? This is what they call the staggered electoral cycle.
Staggered, exactly.
Instead of having one simultaneously.
Absolutely.
But with the staggered one, isn't it costly? You have to be repeating all these different elections, and then voter apathy as well.
Yeah, very well.
Even with our last elections, with the presidential, the voter turnout was high.
It
But
goes
look
down.
at National Assembly, it went down.
Absolutely.
With the councillor, it went even further down. Isn't that an issue that maybe we should look into?
Absolutely. I think these are some of the issues. What I would say cost is very expensive to hold 4 elections
Exactly.
within 6 months. And again, I think logistics also is another nightmare, not for just the IEC, but even for political parties. I know that they'll be struggling with funding, with budget and all that, with mobilizing and all that. I think the most ideal would have been to match some of these elections, like to have a presidential and National Assembly together, and to have councillorship and chairpersons together. But that's the ideal. But practically right now, based on the law, it's not feasible. So this is why the Commission decided to come up with these dates. Even though I know the issue of voter apathy may set in, because we've seen from the last cycle that presidential election enjoyed a massive turnout.
Exactly.
A massive turnout, about 90% turnout, presidential. But this, as the time went on, it fell down to about less than 40% turnout during the local government elections. So I think these are some of the concerns, and these are some of the lessons that we may learn. And subsequently, I think, we may engage the lawmakers, you know, to make sure.
We are exhausting the time. I mean, we've seen the IEC, according to Fourier newspaper headline, you crack down on people that call themselves parties in the Gambia. We've seen that. And apart from election, what do you do, IEC? Sometimes I think, I say, okay, these people, after presidential or any other, they just go sit in their offices like this. Do you have any other thing that you do?
No, let's deal with the cracking down first.
Yeah, so let's do that together. I just want us to combine it because we've exhausted the time. Sometimes I think your job is only election.
Very well. You know, elections is one day in 5 years.
Yes.
But you plan for that one day in 5 years.
Okay.
Because elections, you cannot afford to fail on election day. You're calling for trouble in that country. So it's a continuous process. This is why we call it the electoral process.
The electoral process.
It's a process. It's no more an event. Because I know in the previous regime, you used to have an elections event. You hold one day, wrap up and go to sleep. But now the nomenclature have changed to electoral event to electoral process. It's a continuous process leading up to that one day in which you cannot afford to fail. And again, we have a lot of admin work, a lot of stakeholder engagement, a lot of even voter education. And you know, by law, the IEC is supposed to engage in continuous voter education to get people constantly, you know, informing them about the issues on election so that they can be aware of the issues by election day. So we have a lot of things on our plate, by the way. Then when it comes to the political parties, the so-called political parties, I would say, because we've seen a lot of groups emerging and claiming that they are political parties. Just to say that right now in the Gambia, the IEC have registered 20 political parties for now. And even though I know very soon we'll be announcing some few more. But then just to inform people that the mandate of forming a political party lies with the IEC. And fine, we respect your political rights, political association, but then you don't qualify as a political party unless you are duly and legally registered by the IEC as one. Okay? So sometimes we see in the media here and there that somebody is formed a political party. When and where? We have no idea.
Oh, so they did not come to you people?
Most of them, they don't. So we try to engage them, making sure that they know the law and then they try to respect and comply.
So do you have a deadline for the registration?
Registration, I would say, is a continuous process. Because, you know, political rights is described as a fundamental human right. We cannot curtail people's political rights. So it's an open-ended. So there is no cap on the number of political parties, and there is no deadline for registering political
even
parties.
A week before election?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. But depending on whether the group fulfills the legal requirement, which I know for some is very tough. Some claim to be what, but when they come, and just let me just tell you this. Every day or two, some people will walk in requesting for a form, the form to form the party. We have lots of them. But giving you the form doesn't qualify you as a political party until and unless you are duly and fully registered by the IEC. And once this happens, the IEC will even announce you as a political party. I think the last party announced was in May 2025, the ADD. That's the Malik Kamara's political party, Alliance for Democracy and Development. That was the last which was registered in May 2025.
Thank you, Mr. Mboj. We cannot ask any other question. The bumper is already on air. Thank you very much, Pamakan Khan. We've exhausted. My director is just telling me time. So thank you. Thank you, Pamakan. Good to see you, and we'll engage you more.
Yes,
Election is coming,
absolutely.
and this is your time too.
Thank you.
Yeah, so viewers, this is all we have today. Until we come here again tomorrow, have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.